'Tis the season to be really jolly here on Miss Earth Crown. After a successful and unparalleled coverage of Miss Earth 2020, Miss Earth Crown moves forward with a new look, a new brand, and new original content. This is MEC TV. This Christmas season, witness the premiere of our brand new show, In Focus, a show where we ask important questions, one-on-one. And for the premiere season of In Focus, all eyes are on Miss Earth USA 2021. And our American queens will be here to prove why they should be the next Miss Earth USA. And in the coming year, get ready for bigger and bolder Miss Earth 2021, the MEC coverage, with our shows that will definitely keep you posted. MEC In Focus, one-on-one, hot button, hot topics. MEC Inside Stories, interviews with present and past queens, and more special guests. And MEC Pageant Roundup, your weekly dose of Miss Earth pageant analysis during Miss Earth season. So join us starting this holiday season and in the coming year with a heavy dose of Miss Earth that only MEC TV can deliver. Good evening, everyone. Straight here from Japan. My name is Emmanuel Feliciano. I'm the creative content head of Miss Earth Brown, and I will be your host for tonight for the second episode of our In Focus. And our focus on our program this time are the candidates of Miss Earth USA 2021. As we said on our plug, all eyes are on Miss Earth 2021 this time. And so we are interviewing our eco-angels, our queens from the USA, and we will find out who among them have the chance to be the next Miss Earth USA 2021 and probably the next Miss Earth going for back. Why not? And so tonight we're going to have a very, very special guest. I think a lot of you already know her, especially the Earthlings, because she has been hosting a lot of Miss Earth online talk shows for the past year. And she was also one of our guest panelists last time during our roundup episode, one of our roundup episodes. So before anything else, I would already like to introduce her to you. But before that, I would like to ask Earthlings, how are you doing right now? So we hope you are doing really well. It's already the Christmas season, so hope you are happy. Hope you are all safe. So please tell us how you're doing down in the comment section below. So now let's get to it. Let's get to our very special guest for this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let me put the banner up for you already. Our MEC In Focus guest for tonight is our MEC Focus for tonight is our Miss Idaho Earth. Sorry for that mistake. Miss Idaho Earth, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sarah Massingale. Here you go. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, how are you? I mean, we talked a little before, but I don't think I got to ask you.
Yes. Oh, no problem. I'm actually good here. It's kind of cold here in Japan too. It's already the winter time, but not as cold as there, I think, right? How is the winter there right now?
Right now, it's okay. It snowed the night before last, and then it kind of melted down during the day, which was good. I haven't looked outside yet today, so we're fingers crossed that it's not anywhere near as snowy as yesterday.
As yesterday, wow. Well, there you go. Well, snow is not something that we hear and see a lot here where I am. So that's actually really, really nice. Thank you very much for telling us how you are, Sarah. Now, as we know, you have been one of our guests in our season for Miss Earth Roundup, and that's been like 2 months ago. How have you been since then?
Busy. I've been busy. There's been a lot going on. I'm working on my master's degree, and I just started I think around that time. Um, actually, mentally just trying to get the pieces together. I'm on the 6th week of the section that I'm in right now. I started doubling up about 6 weeks ago, so I'm taking more classes than I normally would be. And then I'm also working as close to full time as I can get, and then doing all my stuff, my preparations for Miss Earth USA. So we're just going full steam ahead at this point.
Yeah, well, not just we, you are definitely going full steam ahead. And this, and we've always known you to be so diligent and so industrious, like keeping all things together, doing a lot of things, and we've seen you develop because of all those things. So thank you very much for sharing those to us. So that's a great thing to know. Thank you very much. And not only you are full steam ahead, also our fans are already full steam ahead right now. So we have some of them, and let me read some of our fans' comments already. Wow, some people are waiting. Ralph is here right now. Ralph Sambat. Hello, my friends. Ralph just messaged me a while ago saying what's up and what's going to happen tonight. Well, here we are, Ralph. So please stay tuned, and we are going to interview Sarah, and we'll be asking her some questions. Thank you very much. And somebody from YouTube is watching us right now. WKWK. I don't know what that means, but she's saying, he or she, they're saying, go, go, go. There you go. Yes, there you go.
Always going, going, going.
Always going, going, going. Yeah, that's Sarah for you right there. Mark Catalino says, pa-shout out po. This is in Tagalog, but yes, shout out, pa-shout. Hi, Mark. So let's say,
Hi, Mark.
Queen Sarah, let's say hi to Mark.
Hi, Mark.
There you go. There you go. And again, Ralph is saying hi. Hello, Emmanuel and Sarah. Hello, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
Okay. And another queen and your friend is watching right now. Angel
Hi,
Strong.
Angel.
Angel. She's also watching right now. And also hello to you, Emin. Hi, Angel. Thank you very much for being so supportive of Sarah and, of course, of Miss Earth Crown. RJ Rivera Ventura is saying, hi, Miss Sarah.
Hello.
Hey, RJ. Thank you very much for being here again. And, of course, we have Adrian Untalan. Hi, Miss Idaho Earth.
Hi,
Hey, Adrian.
Adrian.
Thank you very much. And, of course, our chief correspondent Alfonso Noy is hi, our roundup queen Sarah and Maiko Beshi Eman. Hi, Beshi Noy. Thank you very much for being here. Two more comments before we proceed. JB Lernam. Okay. Shout out, please. Hi, Sarah. Hi,
Hi,
JB.
JB.
There you go. A shout out from Queen Sarah. And last but not the least, our friend from Pageant Hub, Michelle and Constantino. Hello, Eman and Queen Sarah. Go get Miss Earth USA.
Hi,
There you go.
Michelle. Fingers crossed. We're hoping there's a lot of great girls this year.
That's true. And you're one of them. Definitely. You're definitely one of them. So thank you very much for all those greetings and for all those shout out requests. Later on, aside from the shout out request, we are going to request you to also put in your questions. Okay? Because we always love chatting with Sarah because she has a lot of very significant, important, relevant things to say. So there you go. So later on, please give us that opportunity to ask Sarah your questions. But for now, let's proceed with our segment, our first segment. Oh, we are so excited here in Miss Earth Ground because right now we have a new segment and we'd like to do that segment with our Queen Sarah right now. So this segment is, here we go. So this segment is what we call Sarah's year-round highlights. Okay, Sarah's year-round highlights. This is about the year's very specific seasons or events and the significance of that to your life and your journey on Miss Earth. Are you ready, Sarah?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so we have the following significant events from the year. So we had Labor Day. Of course, in America, we know that you had Labor Day. You had Thanksgiving, Halloween. What does that have to do? We'll find out. Spring break and Independence Day. So here's our first question, Sarah. For Labor Day. So name one job you would like to try out, even just for a day, whether you've tried it out before or you haven't tried it yet. What would that one job be?
I was just thinking about the other day and it completely slipped my mind. I always thought, so this is like not a regular, like everyday job. This is definitely like an out of the box type of a thing. I always wanted to, I always thought it would be really cool to be a figure skater. I know that's
Mm,
not like a job, but that's, people still get paid for it. I always thought it would be really cool, but I can barely ice skate for the life of me. So
But that would be so nice to try. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can relate with you. So hard to do figure skating. But that's a very interesting job, a very interesting profession to try out, even just for a day. Thank you very much for that, Sarah. Now, yeah, Thanksgiving. We know Thanksgiving is a very significant holiday in America. Um, if you could invite three famous people, dead or alive, to Thanksgiving, your Thanksgiving party, who would they be and why?
so this is gonna sound, I don't know, this may sound morbid, I hope it doesn't, but I've kind of always felt I guess an interest you could say in
Mhm,
celebrities who sort of passed away at a young age,
mhm.
especially ones who I felt had a lot to offer the world that they didn't have the chance to put out into the world is not exactly coming out how I want it to, but I think you get what I mean. So
Yeah.
um I would say probably River Phoenix. He was an
Mhm.
actor. He passed away, I believe, 1993.
Yeah.
Um and then Selena Quintanilla Perez. She was a Tejano singer.
Mhm.
And she was known just for her kindness and for obviously for her music, but just for being one of the nicest people you could ever meet. And I have always wished that I was around a little bit earlier on, just so that I would have had the chance to know more about her while she was still alive. And then Marilyn Monroe, because I think she's severely underestimated.
Right. Those are very great people to be invited to your Thanksgiving party. Yeah. And speaking of Selena, her series, the series about her
Mhm.
life is now on Netflix. So it's a
I know I
very
watched it all in like a day.
you have I haven't yet. So well, would you recommend it for sure?
Um, I would. I would say that if you love the movie, just be prepared that it will be different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there
Mm-hmm.
are going to be moments where you're like, okay, I remember seeing that in the movie, but it definitely goes a little bit further back into her life and it tells
I
you more about when she was little, which you only see for a few moments in the
Wow.
film. So,
Thank you very much. Well, that's a good recommendation also. That's a good review from Sarah right there. Thank you very much. So from Thanksgiving, let's jump to Halloween. Okay. So what does this have to do with our interview? Here it goes. What do you consider as your greatest fear? Since Halloween is like a season of fear, but what would you consider as your greatest fear?
so this one I get flack for it a lot. I'm not a very strong swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Even though before I came to Idaho, I lived in Central California. I lived really close to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I never really just like learned how to swim officially. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just kind of me keeping myself above water. So I actually have a fear of like full submersion. And
Mm-hmm.
unless I am like mentally prepared and I am like dunking myself, I
Mm-hmm.
am completely terrified of just getting like yanked under the water. I
Wow.
hate water slides.
Oh, water slides. Right. So don't worry about that. You're not alone in your fear. I can't even float. I can't even float. So I can't even swim officially. So there you go. So we're the same on our official greatest fear. Thank you very much. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you earthlings out there have the same fear as we have. So we're all in this together, right? Thank you very much, Sarah, for that. And now from Halloween, let's jump to the next one. Spring break. Oh, amazing. Love spring break. So, well, spring break is when a lot of people go on vacation. So for you, Sarah, name one vacation spot you wish you could magically fly to right now. So
So
maybe
I think it would, sorry, I've got a bit of a runny nose over here.
no problem.
Um, I think it would be really cool to go to Ireland. They've just got such a rich history there, and it is a bit of my heritage. I took one of those ancestry DNA kits,
Mm.
and I'm significantly like English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh. And then it said like Western, like North, I think it said like Northwestern Europe or something like that, and it's
Mm.
got me right on the border of Belgium and France. So I'm really interested in the history of my ancestry. So I think it would be really cool to visit like Ireland and Scotland.
That's amazing. That's also very interesting to know, right? That's a nice, like technology nowadays, right? You can
Hmm.
discover your roots with just a swab or something. So thank you very much. Wow, Ireland, Scotland, yeah, we that's something that we would also love to go to. So thank you very much for bringing us to that place right now. Thank you. Now let's go to Independence Day. Yeah, another very significant celebration. What are you most proud of about being American? Because I know right now it's a trying time, not only in America but all around the world. But for you, what are you most proud of about being American?
I am proud of the fact that we get the opportunity to have a say. I'm proud of the fact that our voices matter
Hmm.
and that when we see a change that needs to be made, we have the ability to make that. I know there are a lot of countries where they don't have that freedom.
Hmm.
Um, and so to have the ability to make a change and make a difference and advocate for others to do the same is something that I am really proud of about being an American.
That's amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, and we've all observed. I have a lot of American friends in my program here in Japan, and that's also one thing that they're most proud of, and that they bring with them. You being able to have that opportunity to say whatever they need and want to say, and that's really something that I admire. Thank you very much for telling us that. Thank you. And now, there you go. We've already yes, it's like, oh, just like that, it's already over. Thank you very much, Sarah, for being up for our first segment. So thank you for that. Now, let's look back at the comment section and let's see how our fans are reacting right now. There you go. So we have Sarah, there you go. Sarah. Starla. I thought she was your namesake. Starla Ambalayan. Hi, Miss Idaho Earth. And then also Dean Adrian Pelingon or Pellingen. I don't know where. Depends on where you're from. Good luck on your journey. Hi, Emma. Hey, Dean.
Hi,
Hi. Thank you so
thank
much for being
you.
with us right now. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, this is a nice. There's a nice trivia for all of us from our graphics head in Arabic. In Arabic, Sarah translates to joy and delight. In Hebrew and Persian, it means woman of high rank, often simply translated as princess. Yes. I'm sure you know this about your name, right?
I did not know about it in Arabic, but I had heard that, or that it was the same in Persian as it was in Hebrew, but I had heard in Hebrew that it was princess because I have been given slight flack from my family about that here and there over the years.
Really?
You tease me every once in a while when you're very particular about
Yeah.
what you want. You can get the whole, you get a little tease.
Uh, yeah, maybe a loving tease from the from the family, but like going for what you want takes you places too. So that's a strong trait. Thank you. From our CEO and our founder, Glenn Tristan is saying, "Beautiful Sarah Massingale,"
Thank you.
and we agree. Always, always, always. And Angel is saying, "Beautiful, smart, and dedicated to her cause."
Back at your love.
Yeah, both of you. Both of you. I can say that. And speaking of Sarah's cause, we are going to discuss that later. And not only one, but three beautiful causes. So please stay tuned for that and ask questions about that later. Okay? Yes. And Miss Idaho is not just a beautiful eco queen, she is very dedicated with her environmental advocacy. That's again from Dean. Thank you very
I try to be. That's why we're here. It's the ultimate reason.
That is true. That is, and I'm so happy to hear that you consider that as the ultimate reason. Thank you very much. Okay, and another one. Some people are already
Having
chatting
those
on the
conversations.
having a conversation on the chat group itself. There you go. So thank you very much for that. Well,
I
our
saw it said somebody was telling somebody else to say hi to Christina. If somebody is
yeah, oh yes,
tell her
Christina.
hi from
There you
me too. I love Christina.
please give my regards to Christina Chai because our founder and CEO is based in Singapore. So yeah, so hope you are too. Sending love from Singapore, and so Ralph replied, um, "Give my regards to Christina Chai if you see her." So nice, lovely interaction. Not only between us, but also among the Earthlings on the chat. So please
The
keep
whole
that up.
community.
Right? Yeah, we feel like a community here. We're just talking, and chatting with each other. Thank you so much, guys, for having for keying in those comments and shout out requests in the comment section below. Now it is time for us to go to the meat of the matter, and that is, of course, Sarah's Miss Earth USA story. Ooh, now it's time for that. Okay. So now let's talk about Sarah's Miss Earth USA story and her journey. Okay. Through some photos that we will be showing her. Okay, and showing you too. And here they are. So here we go. Ooh, actually, this is not the first time Sarah is joining Miss Earth USA. Her journey to Miss Earth USA started in 2018. Tell us about this, Sarah.
Yes, this is actually going to be my fourth time competing for the title now for 2021. In 2018, I had been wanting to compete in pageantry for a while. My sister, she does Miss Amazing, which is a pageant for, well, it's an event. It's like a pageant, but it's not technically a pageant because every participant is crowned a princess at the end of
Mhm.
it. However, there are certain girls who do get the opportunity to compete at the national, or participate at the national level. And so it is a program for women and girls with disabilities. And so my sister has been part of that. One of my sorority sisters was competing at Miss America in 2006, either 2016, I believe.
Mhm.
And so I had been watching women in my life participate in pageantry, and I had taken an interest in it, but I had never really had the courage to go out and do it until my sister got to participate at the National Miss Amazing pageant also in 2016. So I started researching pageants, trying to find ones that I felt a connection with,
Mhm.
essentially, and ones that I could raise the money for. It took me from 2016 until about March of 2018 to be able to raise the money to actually go. I didn't have all of the money that I needed, so my college graduation present in 2018 from my parents was one parent bought my flight, and the other paid, I believe the other paid some money toward the hotel. And they
Wow.
all came out too. My mom and sister drove 4 days. I flew out. My mom and sister started driving the day before I flew, and they got there like 3 days later.
Mhm.
But they drove 4 days from Idaho to Washington, D.C. to watch me in 2018. My dad had to work, so he flew out later on, but it was quite an experience. Obviously, that being my first pageant ever, it was quite a surprising, eye-opening experience because I had an idea of what it would be, and it met those ideas, but it was something so much more that I'm not sure I fully have the words to explain and do it justice.
Wow. When you said, let me just do a follow up on that. When you said that it was more than what you expected and it was so much more, what, for example, give us just even just one example of something that you thought was this before you joined, and it turned out to be something different.
There there obviously there were so many things, just I definitely didn't expect it. I knew it was a big deal, but I didn't expect it to be quite the big deal that it was.
Mhm.
If I'm being entirely honest, while Miss Earth USA is, or Miss Earth is considered one of the top four pageants, Miss
Mhm.
Earth USA was not at the look. I mean, it was at the. I can't make words without them coming out not how I mean them. um,
But
it just
it's
wasn't as
okay.
well
It's okay.
known. It
Mhm.
wasn't as well known in the U.S.,
Mhm.
especially not as well known as it is now, with Lindsay
Mhm.
having won the Miss Earth title and with Imani having been Miss Earth USA or Miss Earth Air last year. But it was still a much bigger experience,
I
if
see.
that makes sense, just
Correct.
grander on a
Yeah.
larger scale. But I also would have to say what stuck to me was the relationships.
Mhm.
There are women, one in particular that I met in 2018 that I am still frequently in contact with basically every day.
Mhm.
So just the friendships that I made, I guess I have gotten so used to you meet somebody, you talk to them for a few days. you message with them a few weeks and then you don't hear from them again until the next time you see them.
Mhm.
Um, but that wasn't what happened, and that was something that I actually have genuinely loved. And then there was another Angel. I got to meet Angel because she was passing down her Junior Miss Earth USA title. And as you can see, we're pretty close now. So
That's amazing. Thank you very much. That's actually really nice to know, that despite, despite the lack of, I think, recognition that Miss Earth has in the USA, it was still an experience to treasure. And that says a lot about the organization and the system of Miss Earth USA. So thank you very much for that, Sarah. Now, let's go forward. So 2019, you also competed. What changed in 2019?
so I think in 2019 I had a better sense of, sorry, my light is a lot dimmer than I thought it was going to be. I had a better sense of what to expect,
Hmm.
but I didn't trying to phrase this properly. I had a better sense of what to expect, but I still don't think I was where I needed to be that year. Obviously, I did not place, as we know.
Hmm.
But I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about competing.
Hmm.
Um, and it was a great experience getting to, again, be with some of the other girls. There were girls at this last event that I have become quite close with as well, that I also speak to quite frequently. Our Miss Earth USA Eco, Allie Curtis. I talk to her pretty often. And it's one of those things, like I said, you don't know what you're expecting. Even when you've experienced it once before,
Hmm.
you don't know what you're experiencing until you get there, especially because it's a different batch of girls. We had some snafus backstage that were not ideal, but it wasn't anybody being catty. There were just some things that had to be handled, and they were handled, and they were smooth. And it was one of those things. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about people. Um, but I think that it gave me a sense of sort of, okay, this is where I was, this is where I need to be,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yes, 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 definitely, definitely. Yeah. So a lot of learning. And I think what another thing that you learned this time is, not only dealing with the pageant system itself, but also with the people,
Hmm.
where, that you're around with. So there you go. Thank you very much. And of course, we all know that after that, there was also the 2020 virtual pageant where we have seen you bloom into a more beautiful, more confident woman. And your presence has magnified during the virtual edition of Miss Earth in 2020. Now, I'm going to ask you not what I'm not only going to ask you what changed, because obviously the platform changed, the format changed, but what did you gain? What added experience did you gain, in joining Miss Earth 2020 in its virtual format?
So I've always been a bit self-conscious. I'm sure that everyone can tell I kind of fidget, and that's not just necessarily a self-conscious thing. I just have restless body. I keep seeing my hair and I'm trying to like make it look right. There's this one piece that's doing its own thing. Um, but I've always been very self-conscious. I remember going into the previous editions and looking
Mhm.
at some of the girls and going, "Oh my God, I don't look like her. I don't have the experience she has. I don't have the degrees that she has. I don't have any of these things. I don't have the money that she has." And I just let that get myself so caught up in that
Mhm. Mhm.
that I wasn't giving myself the opportunity to say, yeah, I don't have what she has, but I have these things that she doesn't.
Ama-
Um, and I think doing it virtually, it really gave me the chance to look at myself and say, okay, this is me getting to do this from my home, from a place where I'm comfortable, a place that I'm familiar with. And it sort of was almost sort of a calming presence, a calming knowledge, knowing that yes, I obviously, when I compete again in 2021, I'm going to have to be somewhere else, which is
Mhm.
fine. I love getting to go somewhere else, but getting the chance to do it from home gave me the opportunity to focus on what made me me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, there you go. That's actually the same with a lot of our Eco Angels queens during the virtual edition. You know, they were able to comfortably become themselves, and so that radiated on screen. And we witnessed that with you, you know, and you've been around not only as a candidate but also hosting some online shows for Miss Earth. And tell us a little bit about that. So, what got you into it, and what made you? I think we got the sense that you enjoyed it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what you into it, and what did you learn from that?
So what got me into it was actually an Instagram message. I got an Instagram message asking me if I would be willing to host. I believe my first interview was with Crystal, Miss Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
Um, and I love getting to meet new people, as you have witnessed and experienced. I talk a lot. So getting the chance to interact with people from other places that I've never been, but that I've always wanted to go to, or that I maybe didn't necessarily know much about, was really cool. But I also love learning more about other people's advocacies and the things that matter to them,
Mhm.
because you learn so much more about a person by having a conversation with them than you do just by watching a video or by just seeing them post things on social media. When you actually sit down and have a conversation with someone, even if it's just over the screen like this, you're getting a better sense of what makes them tick and what truly makes them thrive.
Mhm.
And that was something that I really liked. I really enjoyed getting to see
Yeah.
that from the other girls, because I felt like you got to see a side of them that we don't normally get to see, especially when there are, 80 some odd girls out in the Philippines, that the, the cameras can't be on every girl at once. And
That's
so it's not, I've noticed it's not uncommon for the cameras to pick and choose a few girls that
yeah.
they're going to focus on. So some girls don't always get the same level of attention as other girls. And you see that the same at national pageants. This year I've been on a lot more lives than I have in the past. And I've seen my name pop up because I'm going to be honest, every once in a while I do Google search myself just to see what happened. But it's one of those things that I loved the opportunity to give girls who may not necessarily have had as much time in
Mhm.
the spotlight
Right.
the opportunity to have their voice heard.
Right. You know what? I agree with you. The virtual edition has given a lot of girls like the equal chance of being heard and being seen by people out there. And I was just talking to like a marketing person recently, and he mentioned that the virtual edition is actually a marketing opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And in one way or another, by putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself in the consciousness of people, and they remember you,
Mm-hmm.
and that actually says a lot about your influence. So thank you very much, and congratulations for being able to do that in the span
Thank
of
you.
like a few months, a year, the last year, I think. No, now speaking of year, so you're now on the 2021 roster for Miss Earth USA. So tell us a little bit, whatever you can tell, because I'm sure not a lot can be revealed, because there are like game plans that should be secret. But um, coming into the the 2021 pageant, what is your game plan?
I think my game plan is ultimately just to, again, to try to focus on what makes me me instead of focusing on the things that other girls have that I don't.
Hmm?
I Like I said, I've over the years been quite self-conscious, and I think that this year you're gonna see things from me that they're not. It's not that they aren't me. They're
Hmm.
just a side of me that I didn't necessarily show before.
Hmm.
Um, I if you've watched any of the preliminaries, I don't know how much you've seen or the photos that have been posted, but I've worn a one piece swimsuit every year.
Yeah.
I didn't for 2020, but you didn't see that because I didn't make it far enough for my swimsuit video to show. But I'm back to the one piece swimsuit, but it's a little different than my previous. My gown is far different from any other gown I've ever worn. But it um, it is something that I've actually been wanting to wear for a very long time.
Hmm.
Um, I actually got my gown from Isabella Bennett, Miss Earth US Virgin Islands. She
Mm,
knew that I had been looking for something very particular, and she had something that um, she was able to send me, that she wanted to send me, that was very, very close to that sort of idea I had in my head. And when I got it, I loved it. I did have to take it to the tailor, but actually, for the first time in my life, had to have something let out, but that's okay. It's okay. Um, but it's you're gonna see things from me that are different than I've shown before. Obviously, in comparison, my hair this year, that alone is shorter and a very different color than it's been the
yeah,
past
yeah, yeah.
three competitions.
We
So
love transformations, and we love changes, and we love like um our queens unpacking things that we haven't seen before. So this is just going to make it more exciting, you know? It's just going to excite your supporters more. So we are so looking forward to those things that you've just mentioned. And you're right. We've been seeing things also that are already online. So and we are that makes us more excited. So thank you very much for sharing to us that game plan. Now, speaking of your game plan, since you've practically become experienced in pageantry already in the last 4 years, and I'm sure that already some girls are already looking up to you, and probably would seek your advice if they wanted to join Miss Earth USA in the future or pageantry in general. What advice could you give aspiring beauty queens before they join the pageant, especially with your experience and your journey?
yeah, I would absolutely say that, like I said about myself, make sure that you're focusing on what makes you you, not what makes you, and what makes you different from the other girls in a good way.
Mhm,
Don't focus on, that one girl has competed at Miss USA, or that
mhm.
one girl's competed at Miss America, and I've done that in the past. Last year, I saw Imani and I saw Allie Curtis, and I was like, oh my God, these girls, I don't have that. I don't have any of that. I look at Imani and I was like, you got about
Uh-huh.
3 inches that way I don't have. Like, it's something that you can't get caught up in the concerns. You need to focus on why you stand out and what is different about you, what matters to you. And I also would say work on your walk, because that is something that I have to continue to do. Obviously, I am aware of the fact that my walk is not where the other girls have been in the past, but we're working on that. So fingers crossed. It's just be sure that you know what you stand for is
Right.
my biggest message though.
There you go. That's really nice, especially for Miss Earth. That is very important that you should know where you stand and you should know what you stand for, right? And speaking of knowing what you stand for, and speaking of focusing on your journey, we are now on the things that you stand for in this journey on Miss Earth USA 2021. Okay, so now ladies and gentlemen, Earthlings, let's talk about this. Is it? Let's talk about Sarah's causes. Actually, not only one. So our next segment is Journey to Miss Earth USA 2021: The Crown and the Cause. So we actually got hold of a very special video that Sarah made just for this interview, and it's part of her advocacy. It's part of her advocacy called "It's Elementary." This is just a wonderful title. It's very witty, and I love it. But before we ask Sarah to explain to us what that is, let's watch something. Let's all watch this first. Here we go.
Representing the Gem State, I am Sarah Massingale, your Miss Idaho Earth.
When I first joined the Miss Earth USA organization in 2018, my hope was to share the beauty of my state with the rest of our nation, as well as to help teach those around me about ways that they could make changes in their daily lives that would make a positive impact. I focused on the concept of small actions, big change. However, over the last 3 years, this concept has expanded and morphed into something much more. While I do still teach that if everyone takes small actions toward greener life, it will make a big change on our environment, I've learned that this lesson must be taught early on. Currently, Washington is the only state in the U.S. that requires environmental education be taught in their public school system. This needs to change. Children are the future of our Earth, and while it is important that we as adults make changes and do what we can to combat environmental issues, it is also important that we teach our children about these issues and how they can make a difference, so that they grow up with an understanding of the issues at hand and the mindset that they have the power to make a difference. My focus now is teaching elementary school children about the issues that our planet currently faces, but through language and activities geared toward their age group. I go to schools and hold events, during which I have discussions with elementary school children about the actions that they can take at home to be more sustainable, the actions that they do take, and the ways that their actions affect the environment. To younger children, I read books about recycling and do activities that show them how they can take items that they may not need anymore and use them for other things. For older children, we plant seeds and discuss the importance and benefits of growing your own food. In addition to my work in schools, I have been able to use the lessons that I am learning while working toward my master's degree in public administration, with my emphasis in government and policy, in order to examine environmental education policy and work toward my ultimate goal, the inclusion of environmental education as a requirement in the U.S. public school system. Teaching students at a young age helps them live more environmentally conscious lives for years to come, because habits often form when we are young. Not only does environmental education help elementary school students live greener lifestyles, it helps develop higher intrinsic motivation, which leads to higher engagement and more confidence in problem-solving skills, as well as developing a deeper interest in STEM studies. Beyond educational improvements, environmental education has also been shown to aid students in finding it easier to discuss and understand environmental issues later in life, due to a pre-existing foundational knowledge of these issues, and has encouraged motivation to improve the environment around them. Why do I focus on teaching children? Well, after learning all this, it seems to me it's elementary.
Yay! There you go. That was such a witty ending. I really, really love that ending. So, you've explained a lot in the video already, and it gave us a very, very good glimpse of your advocacy. It's elementary, but would you like to tell us more about it?
Yeah, so as you said, the title was kind of witty. That was my hope. That was my goal. Just because I feel like when something's a little bit catchier, it tends to be more memorable. Um, but also, I just loved the fact that I was playing off of the fact that the elements,
Mm-hmm.
but it was also playing off the fact that I work with elementary school students.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, it plays with the expression that something like when something is just basic, it's elementary. And so I just really liked that I was able to tie in all those different meanings into this one title because they're all applicable.
Mm-hmm.
But the focus to me, it started out, I had a platform the first year and I called it Small Actions, Big Change.
Mm-hmm.
And it just talked a lot about, oh, well, you can do this and you can do that. And, drink from a reusable water bottle or, as you saw in my video, using reusable containers instead of plastic baggies, which is fine. It's all well and good. It's the kind of things we want people doing, but it didn't really pin down in any one specific area. And I felt like that was something that it needed to do. And so during my first year for my Think Global, Act Local project, which is our annual service projects that all the delegates do, my project, I took seeds and soil and little info sheets about why it's important to plant your own fruits and vegetables and herbs whenever you can. I took those to my local park and I had put out word all over the place for people to bring their kids to come plant and come learn about why we should plant. And I had my mom's friend showed up with some people that she worked with. She worked with individuals with disabilities and she brought some of them. But for the most part, I think I had like 2 or 3 people show up. And my mom, God bless her, she went around the park and like talked to all the moms and like wrangled all the moms over to come bring their kids. She felt bad that nobody came. And so she's like, here, come here. And she's like, she came over and she like wrangled all the moms. And it was a lot of fun and the kids loved it. And I realized that it's not just about what we need to do. We also need to focus on what's enjoyable and what's going to make the greater difference in the long run. And yes, it's going to make a greater difference if everyone makes a change. But knowing that there are so many kids coming up in the world that are going to have to know more than they're provided in
Mm-hmm.
schools.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that really stuck out to me, and that was something that I wanted to change. And I had always gotten along with kids. Like I was kind of the baby whisperer at one of my previous jobs. Anytime a mom came in with a small child and the kid started crying and it kept crying and kept crying, they would send me to go talk to the kid and make the child not cry. And it was just something that I had two jobs that was kind of something that was my area, because kids just felt more comfortable around me. And I've never known why, and I've never fully understood that. And obviously everyone says, things happen for a reason. God has a greater plan. I always wondered why other people's kids felt so calm and comfortable around me. And I think that I finally figured out why, and how I can utilize that connection and that skill to make a greater difference. And that is through It's Elementary.
That's amazing. Thank you very much. Well explained. Well explained. So you're harnessing your ability to be close with children, and like adding that to your advocacy. It's elementary, for those who like, it's elementary, it's very easy. But it's also part of the part of the meaning of that is that, you go to the young people and start with the young people and developing their advocacy for the love of Mother Earth. And I'm so happy as a teacher. I'm very, very happy to hear that you are not only doing that in the classroom, but also extending that outside of the classroom and thinking outside of the box and thinking what else you need to provide to them that are not taught in the classroom. And you mentioned something in your video where you said that you teach them things that are appropriate to their abilities and their age, and that is amazing, because that is something that not a lot of even professional teachers are not conscious about, teaching what is appropriate for their kids. And yeah, so tell us why you chose this particular activity for the younger kids and another activity for the older kids.
Yeah. So I had kind of come from this idea that I knew that environmental education, when we do discuss environmental issues, it is often in much more adult terms. It's not something that is made easy for kids to
Mhm.
grasp and to
Right.
comprehend. And that was something that really kind of bothered me, because kids are inquisitive. They want to know more. They want to do better. And if you teach them at a young age, they will continue to want to do better, and they will continue to want to know more. And so to me, it was something that just, it seemed elementary. You teach them something that they're going to understand, so that when they're older, they're going to go, oh, well, I know this, so now what?
Right. Right.
Because if you start with the most complex aspects, they're not going to get it. They're going to
Mhm.
understand parts of it, but they're not going to fully understand the gravity of the situation and the issues at hand unless we start with the basics. And
Right.
that was something that I felt was really important. And so with the planting your own seeds, that's what we do in the it I I have the same sort of concept with all of the activities, um but I come at them from a different approach. So with the younger kids, I will read them, as you saw, that I Am Earth book. But I
Mhm.
also have one that's called The Adventures of a Plastic Bottle. And it's basically a diary written from the perspective of a plastic bottle, from the time it's oil that is mined,
Mm.
to the time that it is all the way through its life cycle, to the time that it is recycled into something new. And it sort of is to teach, that aspect is to teach the kids that we don't, like, obviously we don't want to be using single use bottles, but if we do, this is what can happen with them, as long as you make sure that you're doing your part.
Right.
And so with that with that book, the activity that we generally do is we would take a plastic bottle. I would generally have them ahead of time cut in half, and we would
Mhm.
plant seeds, and we would plant seeds in these bottom halves of plastic bottles, so that they could see that you could start new life from something old,
Mhm.
which I carry over with the older kids. But I haven't had the chance to work as much with older kids. They're just a lot busier. Their teachers
That's
don't
right.
often respond to my emails as often as like kinder and first grade. I have spoken to so many kinder and first grade classes. Not that I have an issue with that. I love it. It's just, that's just how it tends to fall. Those are the teachers who are most excited to have me in their rooms. And I love it, teaching the kids at such a young age, because as you saw somewhere in that video, in 2000, I was 5. I was 5. Yeah, sorry. I had to mentally get there. It was the year I turned 6, but I wasn't 6 yet. In 2000, I was in a commercial about recycling. And so that was something that sort of stuck to me. And that's why you'll see where it says in that video 2000, and then there's me later in 2020, to show that when you're taught at a young age, it really does continue. And so with the planting, it carries into the idea that you can use old materials to create new life, but it also goes back to that. It's good to plant your own fruits and vegetables, because little kids, they like to eat. Everybody likes to eat, but little kids like to eat. And so when you teach them things that they understand, you teach them like, oh, this is how we can get food, and this is how we can get food in a way that is better for everybody, then they get excited about that. I had them, one kid, I don't remember exactly what event, because I've done a few of these with my seeds and soil. And I think it was one of the schools in this picture though, or in this video. One of the kids, he's all excited. He's like, I got whatever seeds he got. And I don't remember exactly what they were. I think it was like green beans. And another one was like, oh, I got green beans too. I don't want green beans. They were excited and like discussing even just the things that they were going to grow. And that was something that I thought was really cool. So that's why I do that with the little kids.
Oh, it's definitely cool. It's so nice for you to tell us about that, because it's very inspiring, and it shows how dedicated you are to your cause, because it's not easy to teach children. It's not easy to send these emails to schools requesting them to give you time with the kids in order for you to push your advocacy forward into their young minds. And so we admire you for doing that. Thank you very much. And there you go. Another Ralph actually says, watching this video brings back memories of my time with Earthwatch Club that I was in high school. So with Ralph, they did beach cleanups and other exciting things. So there you go. See the impact of Ralph remembers the environmental advocacy thing that they did in high school, and definitely with what you're doing, Sarah, your students will also remember that, and they will have that recall, and they will have that consciousness. And speaking of recall, yes, Alfonso says the advocacy title has such a strong recall, and environmental education is such an important cause. And we agree. Another person who agrees is also somebody who's watching us right now, a very popular figure in the Philippines, Tito Rogel Flores of Kagandahan Flores, one of the prominent beauty pageant camps here in the Philippines. Thank you for watching, po, Tito Rogel, and thank you for staying with us right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. I have definitely heard of you.
Right? There you go. There. Now, you also have other advocacies, but before we go there are already some questions here, and one of them is from Noy, our our chief correspondent. The things we need to do to protect our environment are indeed basic, as you said, very elementary. But why do you think many of us still find it difficult to understand what needs to be done?
I think one of the biggest issues, especially about the situation here in the U.S., is convenience. People, they get caught up in, I'm in a rush, I'm going, and they want what's easy. And yes, they understand that there are issues at hand that need to be addressed and that need combating, but they don't, obviously, they just, I can't get that sentence out. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I know what I want to say. It's just coming out all tongue twisted.
We understand you perfectly. Yeah.
But they get so caught up in the idea that I have to do all these things, so I'll do something later. I'll do something good for the environment later.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be great when you do something later, but it'd be even better if you cut out all these things that you're doing every day because you're in a hurry. It takes me like 10 seconds, 15 seconds to fill this up every morning before I leave for work. It's not that complex.
That is true. That is right. That is right. Some people, it's just, sometimes it's just an excuse, and you are right with that. It has to be in our consciousness. We have to train ourselves to do that as well. Thank you very much. And now Angel also has a question. Recent studies show that students of social media using age, are more likely to follow eco tips pages on social media and subsequently abide by the eco-friendly tips. And I can vouch for that for sure, because a lot of young students right now are the ones who are so conscious about the environment. What do you think is the best way to keep up the mission of its elementary into these age groups?
So this is something I've actually thought about, that if I had the skill set, I would absolutely love to do. Um, I used to tutor a little boy, in addition to the work that I've done. I used to tutor a little boy whose family owns the nail salon that my mom goes to. And he was always talking about these games he would play online. And he'd always be like, oh, I want to play my games. I want to play my games. If I'm good, my mom says if I'm good, I get to play my game for however long. And I thought it would be a really cool opportunity to create like an online game that sort of keys in
Uh,
on, you know, almost like a simulation. I know, like
mhm.
almost a simulation of a daily life where you have these two choices in front of you. Do you fill up the water bottle, or do you buy some when you get wherever you're going?
Right,
Um,
right.
and I thought that might be kind of a cool take on it. Even
Thank
though
you
it's not
very
social media, it's kind of in that
No, it is. It is.
online.
It's kind of related. Yeah. So social media is also like a jump of a point for gaming, and there's a lot of gaming going on social media right now. So yeah,
Mhm.
that definitely works. Those games about environment. Yeah, and Angel seems to agree. She loves the simulation idea. Thank you very much for that question, Queen Angel. There you go. Now let's move forward, because aside from your advocacy on its elementary, you still have and maintain your Think Global, Act Local projects, and we know that this is very, very significant. So what is the importance of thinking global but acting local? Aside from the economic benefits, what do you think is there any environmental benefit to to acting local and buying local and promoting and patronizing local as well?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I've always explained is that, when you're growing your own fruit, or when you're your own food, or when you're buying it from people in your community, it cuts down on the carbon emissions because
Mm,
it's not traveling as far.
right.
It cuts down on just a lot of I can't getting ahead
Mm,
of myself. I'm so excited that my brain is going faster than my mouth. Um, and it's getting all caught in between.
no
But
problem.
I I think that one of the other things that I've sort of focused on is explaining that we have to start in our communities, because if that's where we have the widest reach at the moment.
Mhm,
We
mhm.
start with the people around us, and then those people start with the people around them, and it
Right.
expands just like that ripple effect. And that's why we have to start in our communities. We have to start with the people that we know, because
Mhm.
then they will go and do the same. So
Amazing.
this is
There. That's
again
right.
the most elementary explanation I can give.
And that is very important to give that very elementary definition, because everybody, it's so understandable for everybody, and that is right. The ripple effect that starts with local, that starts with thinking local and acting local, but thinking global, and then it starts with something small, and then it grows, and then everybody ends up doing it, and that is such a huge benefit for the country, the world, and the environment in general. So thank you very much for that one. Aside from your Think Global, Act Local projects, you also have advocacy for people with disabilities. Explain to us why. Of course, I know already, but explain to the rest of our Earthlings why this is so much close to your heart.
Yes. So my little sister, Rachel, you'll see her in the picture of me with the little blonde gal holding the sign. That's my sister.
Yes.
And she recently found out she'll be going to the National Miss Amazing event again. So
Ooh.
we're both going to nationals this year, which is kind of fun. Hers are in Nashville. Ours are, of course, in Orlando.
Mhm.
But my sister is the Idaho Miss Amazing Junior Miss representative. So
Amazing.
that's the age group. I don't remember the exact age group, but my sister is going to be 23 on Friday, and so it's that age range. And so she obviously I was 3 years old when my sister was born. I was there in the hospital with my mom. Luckily, I don't remember the being born. I just remember, one of the earliest memories in my life. I always thought it was my first memory. Then I discovered that my first memory was actually something that has terrified me for years. I just had this vivid recollection of a frog coming out of like a hole in a wall, and I thought that was some horrible dream, but it turns out there really was a frog in the wall at some house we were at, and it came out.
Wow.
So all the people that I've told my sister was my first memory. Turns out she's my second. But one of my earliest memories in life is after my sister was born, the doctor holding her up and saying, "Would you like to see your new baby sister?" And so I don't really have any knowledge of life before my sister, any knowledge of life before having somebody with a disability, an intellectual disability in my life. And so because it's been part of up to me, I don't think about it. I just go, oh, we're going to go do this now. We're going to go hang out with these people. And for the longest time, I didn't even realize I knew my sister was different, but I never fully comprehended that difference until it was explained to me. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then just went on. I was like, all right, she's still my sister. Like, she's still the same person I've always known. This makes no difference. And so half the time I forget. I don't even think about it until it comes up in conversation sometimes. And I'm like, oh yeah, she does, huh? Like, it's just because she's got such a bold personality. She is very confident. And so just having my sister in my life being, my first memory, I've always felt a connection to people who have disabilities. And so, I would go help out in her classroom as best I could. I was only 3 years older than her, but I would go and spend time in her classroom. And then I remember in elementary school, we would have our recess was based off of your grade level. So you would go to recess with the other kids in your grade. And I used to try and skip my recess, and I'd go to her class, or I'd go to other classes with kids who have special needs. And I'd be like, can I help in here? I would rather, at the time, I wanted to help in those classrooms more than I wanted to play. So it's just been something that has carried through my whole life. And so the picture that you see of me and my sister is at the Miss Amazing event in 2019. I was a buddy, which is when they have volunteers who come in and they spend the day with the girls, and you get paired up with a girl or several. I helped volunteer at the National Miss Amazing the year my sister went the first time, and they partnered me with 4 teenage girls from all over the country. Oh, they were a handful, but in a fun way. I loved it. It was fun just seeing all their different personalities meld together and how they formed into this little group. But I got to spend that week with those girls, but the state level, it's just a day. And you spend your day with the girls as a friend. That's why it's called a buddy. You're there to be their friend. You're there to be someone that they can confide in. If they're nervous, you help them. You talk through it. You help them prepare for their interview or for whatever aspect that they're nervous about. And you're there as a calming presence. You're there as somebody that they can rely on. And so I got to be the buddy for the teen show and the Miss show. So I was there all day. Both my girls essentially get to go to nationals. My first, my teen, she won that year. And so she got to go to nationals in 2019. And then for 2020, they weren't able to have a competition, or an event. So they took the scores from the 2019 event, and then they used those scores to select the 2020 representatives. They did a virtual event for 2021. So all the girls are going to go to nationals together, which is really cool. There's just going to be a double batch of girls. So my sister, I guess, had the second highest score at the 2019 event. So now both the girls that I was buddies with get to compete at nationals, which is a really, really cool feeling. Just getting to watch them and spend time with them that day, and then see where they've got to go from there. And then what you see on the other picture is me and a little girl named Annalise
Mhm.
at what is called Dance Marathon. And
Mhm.
that is an event that colleges all over the US put on. I know ours, I don't know if every school does it exactly the same, but ours is 17 hours. You dance all night, 17 hours to raise money for your local Children's Miracle Network hospital. And
Oh.
during that experience, they will bring in kids from your local children's hospital
Mhm.
who are your champions, and they get to spend time with you, dance, have fun for a few hours. Um, and you get to see where that money you're raising actually goes. And so
Mhm.
I got to participate in that throughout my time in college. And Annalise, as you can see, also has Down syndrome, like my sister.
Mhm.
And so it's always kind of been a little connection. I always feel a little connection with individuals with Down syndrome specifically.
Mhm.
But what's actually funny about this little girl is that my parents, I think my family first met her at Costco, which is just a big like warehouse grocery store.
Right, right.
um my family, obviously, when we see people with Down syndrome, we take my sister and she says hello, and it's just a little conversation starter. And we saw her and her family there when she was very little. And my family was talking to her family, and it's just become a thing now where we see her out and about around town, and every time one of us sees her, we'll take a picture with her and send it. So me and my mom just have these like pictures, like, look who I saw. I have pictures of me with her at football games, and my mom's got one at the
Other
doctor's
venues.
office.
That's right. Oh, that's just amazing that you've not only helped your sister, but you've also built a community around your passion for helping them out. So amazing. So you see, Earthlings, we are getting to know Sarah in a lot of ways. You know, we now know that she's not only a Miss Earth contender, but she's also very, very passionate for teaching children environmental awareness. She's also a leader in her own right now, and she also has passion for people with disability. So such a well-rounded person, a well-rounded woman, a well-rounded queen. And so we admire queens like that. So thank you very much. All of these are just not only arming you for life, but arming you for your journey on Miss Earth. So thank you for sharing all of these things to us.
Thank
And
you for
that
letting
really,
me.
thank you. Yeah, it is. It's always our pleasure, as you know. And thank you very much, Earthlings, for following that also. And I don't know, maybe one of our admins on Miss Earth Ground says, "Woo, sisters!" That's not a woo, that's a wow. Wow, sisters in two pageants next year. Woohoo! There you go. Yes,
There's a
thank
lot
you
of
very.
sparkle in my house right now.
Oh, there is what?
A lot of sparkles in my house right
A
now.
lot of sparkles in your house. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, we love that. Thank you. Now it's time for now I have a question also, by the way. Thank you very much for all those the things that you've shared to us so far. I have a question. Also in your video a while ago, you mentioned that you are taking a master's in public administration, and you are working towards a goal in the future where environmental education will become an automatic and a required part of the curriculum in America. So right now, aside from taking your course, what are the steps that you're trying to initiate or follow in order for that to become a reality in the future? Because that is very important. That is very important.
So one thing that I've always understood, I haven't always been the best at it in the past, but one thing that I've always understood and something that I'm working on is that when you come to somebody with an idea, you need
Mhm.
to have a plan in place. And
Yes.
so my goal and what I'm sort of trying to work on and kind of what I'm doing, sort of through experimentation with my school visits, is I'm working on a curriculum so that I'm not just coming to the school boards saying, okay, we need to do this. Let's make environmental education a thing. I'm coming to them saying, let's make it a thing. Here's my plan.
Hmm.
And so I'm sort of working on building that curriculum. I've, through my classes, had the opportunity to create a policy brief, which is essentially just an outline
Hmm.
for
Hmm. Hmm.
for a proposed policy, and mine has been on environmental education. So I've got I've got a whole slideshow. I've got these like documents, like infographics, that I'm just like, all right, here you go.
There you go. That's amazing, right? Yeah. So it's really really nice to know that you come armed, with your plan already. So yeah, it's gonna go a long way. So right now the outline for sure is going to be a draft,
Hmm.
eventually, and then it's going to be a bill and implemented. We're so excited for that to happen.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's very
Gonna
important.
take some time, but
It's going to take some time, but definitely, definitely for sure. Why do you think? Oh, that brings me to the next question. Right now, only one state in America is implementing that as a requirement in their curriculum. Why do you think it hasn't caught up in other states yet?
so there are states that have laws in place that require environmental education, but it's not taken to the same level and it's not taken to
Mm,
the way that it needs to be, the
I
way that
see.
it is in the state of Washington. In most states, they've been able to get away with, oh, well, we teach about the Earth's layers and we teach about the Earth. We teach Earth science, and
Oh,
that's how they get around the environmental education. They don't necessarily teach you here are the problems we have, here's how to combat them. They
right.
teach here's how the earth works. And
That's true.
so, and I mean, yeah, it's great to have that information. It helps you to understand, but you need to have that background and that explanation of here are the issues, here's how we fight them.
Right.
And so, um, I think that the reason a lot of other states haven't picked up that it's a combination of, I'll be honest, that some states are very set in their ways.
Hmm.
It's very much a, well, this is how we've always done it, and it's worked good enough for us so far, kind of a perspective. And we can't live that way.
Mm,
Society has to change. We've seen that in so many different aspects over the last 10 years, even, that you just you can't just sit back and watch it happen because that's how the people before you did. And there's also, of course, the financial aspect. It's how much is it going to cost us to change our curriculum? How much is it going to cost us for our teachers to have to come up with these new lesson plans?
mm,
How much time are they going to have to spend at home? And
right.
so, again, that's why I'm working on developing that curriculum so that there are examples in place. Like, yeah, here's what's been done, and what I've seen works.
Thank you very much. That's a great answer. Now, speaking of the policies that you were trying to draft and the outline, the policy brief that you're trying to, for sure, definitely, it will go a long way in the hands of people, leaders, and politicians who have the environment at heart and in their minds whenever they do their policies or whenever they run for office. Why is it why is it now important to push for leadership and governance with the care for environment in mind?
Well, I think in general, that's actually kind of one of the topics, put like understanding leadership. That's one of the classes that I'm
Mhm.
actually taking right now.
Amazing.
So I kind of have a little bit of that mindset going already. But um, just having leaders in general, it's so much different than having people put in a leadership position. You
Mm,
you can be put in a leadership position and not be a good leader, and you can be put in a lower position and be one of the best leaders
right, right,
available.
right.
And I think that leadership is so much about the actions that you take. It's not about what you say. It's not about what you tell other people to do. It's about what you're showing
Mhm.
other people to do.
Right.
And for me, it's important to lead by example. And so
Mm,
if we want environmental change, we have to have leadership that that also wants it and that is willing to say, not just you guys have to do all this and I'm going to live my life. It's we have to do this and I'm going to get hands on and show you how.
amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. That's a very quotable quote. It's like you can be put in a leadership position but not be a leader. And action is very very important, right? So that
Mhm.
also goes for everybody. It's like we might tell people we're advocates of the earth, but how does it show in our actions? So that is also very important. Thank you very much for reminding us about that, Sarah. Now, so we have asked Sarah a lot of questions and she has given us a lot of really, really great and significant answers. But in our last segment, there are also some answers, some questions that she needs to answer, but with some pressure this time. And what pressure would that be? We'll find out in a bit. But there's just one really nice comment here. Since Miss Earth USA 2021 is happening in Orlando, our friend, also one of our contributors, Ralph Sambat, who is in Orlando. Why did I say Australia? In Orlando right now. Says, let me know if I will get if you want to visit some fun places in Orlando, and I will get the info for you. That's so nice. We also have one of the oldest attractions here that has been open since the 1940s. Thank you very much for that offer, Ralph.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you. We
thank you.
definitely need some fun places. My dad's birthday is the same day as our preliminary competition, so I kind of have to like fi find a way to. It's also my grandma's birthday. My grandma had my dad on her 21st birthday.
Amazing. Wow. So it's going to be like a lot of celebration happening. And also happy birthday to your sister, right? Because
I
her
will tell
birthday.
her when she wakes up. She
Thank
is
you. Thank you. Happy
severely asleep.
sister. There you go. Now, speaking of that, so the rest of the questions that you have to answer tonight with time pressure. Our next segment, our last segment is what we call Miss Earth Q&A roulette. Okay, what is
It's the one
this?
I was nervous about.
So with this one, we are going to ask Sarah some of the questions that have been asked the winning queens before. So our previous winning queens, not only in Miss Earth USA, but on Miss Earth. And Sarah will be given time to answer that question, but not all the time that she wants and needs. She will only be given 30 seconds to
That's the
answer
part that makes me nervous.
each of the question. And when you hear this sound, it means that your time is up. Yeah, this is like your practice for the Q&A round already. Earthlings and Sarah, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Now, here is our first question. And this question is going to come from Miss Earth 2002. Which has more significance to you right now? Sunrise or sunset? Sarah, your time starts now.
I would say sunrise because it's the start of a new day. It gives us the opportunity to go out and make the difference that we want to see and the change that we know needs to be made. Obviously, sunset is a time to reset and to get that rest, but sunrise is when we really get the opportunity to kick things off and get hands on. So, sunrise.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, 7 seconds left for you to answer, but you were able to answer properly. I love how, because um as queens, you also have to be conscious of the structure of your answer, and you only have 30 seconds to answer, but your structure was so spot on, explaining your answer, your thesis statement, and then explaining your reasons, and then balancing the answer in the end. That was such a perfect answer, right? I think our earthlings would agree. Thank you very much for answering that, Sarah, and thank you very much to our Miss Earth 2002. Now let's go to the next question. But before we go there, let me just reset my timer. There you go. Here we go. Now our next question is from Miss Earth 2008, Carla Henry. If you have a chance to talk to the newly elected U.S. President Joe Biden about the state of the global environment, what will you tell him? Your timer starts now.
I would tell him that our actions don't just affect us, they affect everybody. And so the things that we're doing nationally are going to make a difference globally. And we need to be conscientious of the relationships that we develop because those are impacted or they have an impact on the relationship. I'm stumbling. The relationships that we have with other leaders will help our national actions reach a global scale.
That is right. That is correct. Woo. And just right when the timer. Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go. Just right on time. Thank you very much. That is true. That is true. You have to be careful with, especially in America. America influences the world. There's a lot of influencing going on whenever America decides on something. So that is a very important answer and a very important tip for the new president as well. Thank you very much for that answer. Now, let's go to the next one. Second to the last one from Miss Earth 2015. If you were asked to propose a new slogan for the next, because now Miss Earth has been around for 20 years, but if you were asked to propose a new slogan for the next 20 years of Miss Earth, what would that be? Sarah, your timer starts now.
I think that advocacy through inclusion is a really a really great way to look at it, because it is including women from our program. It includes women from so many different backgrounds and so many different socioeconomic statuses, and it gives them a voice for their nations. And I think that these women are also giving individuals throughout their nation a voice that they wouldn't necessarily have had or had the opportunity to express. So advocacy through inclusion.
Woo, just right on time. Perfect. Thank you very much. There you go. Advocacy through inclusion. That would be so nice. Miss Earth 2022, for example, advocacy through inclusion. That is such a nice slogan for the next 20 years of Miss Earth. Now, for our last question. And this is inspired by, or will be coming from. Oh, there you go. Oh, that was the last question already. Wow. Amazing. Thank you very much. Now let's give Sarah a virtual round of applause for doing so well, for inspiring us all, and for telling us a lot of information during this episode. Thank you very much, Sarah, for being with us again. It's always our pleasure, and we hope that you also had fun with us right now.
Thank you so much for having me.
Always our pleasure. Now, before we end, we would like you to complete this statement and leave a message to our Earthlings. You are Miss Idaho Earth 2021, going to Miss Earth USA. But as an advocate of the Earth, as a woman, no, let's put it this way, as a woman of the Earth, I promise to, and then complete that statement. So, Sarah, as a woman of the Earth, what do you promise to do?
As a woman of the Earth, I promise to make change however I can. I think that not just in my, as I've said so much today, not just through the things that I'm doing in my daily life, but through the relationships that I have and that I am building every day, I will use those to continue to work toward making an environmental difference.
Amazing. There you go. Continue towards making an environmental difference. And you have, since the very beginning of your Miss Earth journey and until now, you have been making a huge difference environmentally and the lives of other people. So thank you very much for that. And ladies and gentlemen, Earthlings, thank you for being with us tonight as well. That was such a fun and a very, very significant interview, relevant interview that we had with Sarah right now. But Sarah is not our only guest, because we have a lot of our Miss Earth USA queens on our roster just for December. So as much as, if you enjoyed Sarah's interview today, please stay tuned and wait for our next episode, because next time we are going to, this different upcoming interview. There you go. Miss Emma Loney from Miss Earth Wisconsin. Miss Wisconsin Earth 2021. She's coming up next. There you go. Okay, wait. Running. That was the past interview. Thank you so much. But now it's our time to say goodbye. That's the time that we have. Thank you very much for being with us. Again, thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Earthlings. We hope to see you again next time, only here on In Focus, here on Miss Earth Crown TV. We hope you have a safe and good night. Bye, everyone.
Bye.